Well, what hallucinations is our brain capable of? Yes, this is interesting to know. But before that, this is Jash from Health App. If you want to know more latest health facts, tips, and news analysis like this, be sure to go down below, press the subscribe button and the notification bell so you're always notified on my latest videos. See you after the break. The human brain is not just a strange thing. If you think that the hallucinations are solely the result of various medicines or hypnosis, then you are really wrong. Our brain is able to work without a chemical or any other effects, just like that it itself. To distort space and time, create visual patterns and images where they do not exist. It can generally assume that you are not you, but for example, you are a wolf or chair or and all this without a gram of forbidden powder, tablet, brand or jamb, anything like that. So we'll talk about some syndromes like that. First, Alice syndrome in Wonderland. Neurologists call this condition a violation of the body circuit. The brain mistakenly interprets the picture received from the visual system, as a result of which individual parts of the body or the whole body in general are perceived much more or less than they actually are. What is noteworthy, the eyes with this neurological failure are absolutely healthy. In some cases, the syndrome can affect the perception of not only your body but also space and even time. Patients with this rare syndrome are not hopeless. It is enough to put a mirror in front of them, as the brain will adjust the head the size of a cherry and 100-meter leg hunt to normal sizes. Scientists suggest that the English mathematician Charles Lutwidge experienced these conditions during a migraine and used it as inspiration for writing his psychedelic story about Alice's strange dream. The second syndrome we are talking about is walking corpse. Yeah, sounds great, right? The sensations are no less exotic. This condition, also called Cotard syndrome, is a rare mental illness in which patients believe they are already dead, dying, or have lost their internal organs. French neurologist Jules Cotard first described this condition in 1880, finding it in a woman suffering from a protracted depression with symptoms of psychosis. The unfortunate believed that she had no brain and intestines. Believed that she did not make sense to eat. Soon she died and for starvation. This is really hard. Among the most frequent manifestations of the patient's complaint syndrome is that he is the greatest criminal in human history, that he has infected everyone with syphilis or HIV and poisoned the whole world with his bad breath, something like that. This is really scary. Sometimes patients claim that they have long died, that they are dead, their bodies have decomposed long ago. Then they will face the most severe punishments for all the evil that they have brought to humanity. In 2014, an amusing case was described in the British Journal of Neuropsychiatry. A healthy 73 years old madam turned to the ambulance claiming that she was about to die and go to hell. In the end, in addition to psychosis, doctors discovered she was bleeding due to a stroke. After Madame was cured, her thoughts of an imminent demise disappeared. This is really interesting. The third syndrome we are mentioned here is Charles Bonnet syndrome. If all the glitches described above are psychotic in varying degrees, that is, in patients, as a rule, nerves are naughty, then Charles Bonnet syndrome manifests itself in mentally healthy people. The problem here is different. The syndrome goes hand in hand with visual impairment. As a person becomes blind, glaucoma, cataract, bilateral damage to the optic nerves, etc. The visual section of the cerebral cortex no longer receives incoming signals. He becomes bored with nothing to do and he begins to spontaneously launch a movie. What exactly a person sees in his vision depends on which groups of neurons self-activate. But as a rule, these are geometric figures, distorted faces. Often the brain shows cartoons. That's what doctors call transparent hallucinations, which cover the entire field of view like a screen. The fact that a person with Charles Bonnet syndrome is not crazy is easy to verify. The patient understands that these visions are unreal and are only visual. That is, they do not affect the rest of the sensory system. Among older people with significant visual impairment, Charles Bonnet syndrome occurs in 15% of all cases, but it's difficult to accurately calculate the prevalence of the disease. Many patients are afraid that they will be considered schizophrenics and they do not tell doctors about their movie sessions. Very interesting. So the last syndrome we're talking about here is clinical lycanthropy. Cartoons, 100-meter feats, the lack of a brain are babble. With lycanthropy, a person considers himself a wolf, and this psychosis cannot be corrected as a mirror. The patient is sure that he has growing hair, animal teeth, and claws. Lycanthropy is one of the forms of zoanthropy, which in turn is full of variations like dogs, cats, snakes, horse, birds, frogs, etc. In some cases, it is not possible to determine which animals the poor fellow represents himself. There are options for autometamorphosis, in which a person feels a transformation into a plant or an object in general. There are two main symptoms of these disorders. The patient himself says that he is sometimes not his own, or the patient behaves like an animal, like barks, howls, barks, mews. I wonder what sounds that patient makes when he feels like furniture. But this is really dreadful and really I'm very worried about those people who are facing this type of syndromes, and this is really scary. And if I suggest, if you think any type, if you are facing similar kind of things, please talk to a psychiatrist, be medicated, be diagnosed, because this is serious and it can hurt not only yourself but your surrounding, your family, and make this life worse. So be healthy, Be happy always, as I always said, and stay tuned with this channel. See you later, and thanks for watching.